Welcome to Light Being Found. My love Jason was in the U.S. Army. 20 days after I found him, I started documenting my journey through video and audio recordings. Join me as I share my journey as a suicide loss survivor, from struggling to find the light to light being found. Hello, loves. Welcome back to Season 1, Episode 2. I am Tasha. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to piggyback off of Episode 1 and touch briefly on a few of the things I mentioned for topics that I'd be going over. In 2015, the Gottman Institute had Trauma, Emotions, DBT Integrating Research and Intervention Summit, and I really wanted to attend it. I was pretty new to my grieving journey. When I had reached out to them and when I made this video, I was just over 4 months. And I also at this time still was really working through a lot of being in panic attacks. In the video, I'm going to go over a few different things. One of them is I will touch briefly on finding him and how I found him. So it can be triggering, and I want to let you know that now. And then also my experience with his family. I touch on that as well too. And the very beginning of panic attacks, and then how my life purpose changed. So I will share the video and we can go from there. I've been recording myself every day since 20 days after I found him. And I've just been having a really difficult time. My love is military, Army, Specialist, 585th Whiskey. And on May 10th, which was Mother's Day and one day before his 37th birthday, we found him, our mini Aussie and me. He took his life. He hung himself. And just like the whirlwind of activities that have come since, I had a really difficult time with his family when they were here. They hadn't talked to him in a while except for his dad. His mom hadn't talked to him in 9 years. And there was just a lot of nastiness and blaming. And I understand it's part of their grieving process and how they're working through their own guilt and their own pain. On July 8th, I got sick and couldn't keep anything down or in me. And I just thought I was sick, but it was for the whole day. And I talked to my big sister. I had overnight plans with her to visit, and she let me know she felt like I was having a panic attack. My degree is in psychology, and I'm fascinated with human behavior. And I thought, like, how could I be having a panic attack? Like, I understand how to breathe and how to be calm. And, like, so I started going through, like, a race of checking my symptoms. And I was able to calm myself down within a half hour and make it to visit with her. And the next couple of days were really difficult for me. On day 3 of being in a panic attack for hours at a time, I had to check into the hospital because I didn't know how to turn it off. So my journey has really gone through a lot of trying to understand, like, the anxiety and the panic. And once I could stop fighting it,
because I felt like it was taken away from me grieving, and realized that they're one and the same. I've been able to cope with it a lot better. My purpose has just changed. I was telling Jason's my love of almost 7 years, that it's not. I'm a body language trainer with Science of People. I graduated in the first class, and I've always been fascinated with human behavior. And there's a quote that I found in the middle of the class, and it's by Mark Twain. And it's, the two most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day you find out why. And I would tell Jason, like, I found out my why. Like, this is it. I'm supposed to teach body language. This is it. This is my purpose. And he took his life. And my whole purpose changed that quickly. I know that I'm meant to be here for this. When the time is right, I will be. And I'm just still really going through the thick of all the emotions. And I've been recording myself since May 31st. And I have my whole journey pretty much recorded in an audio form or a video form like this. And I'm going to do a podcast. One of the things I was looking for was an audio or video format of somebody documenting their journey, so I could see where I'm at compared to where they're at. Because so many emotions happen when one goes through this. So that's currently where I'm at. Life has been unpredictable, as for everyone, and I'm just taking the lessons as they come, and really wanting to go through the motions and process what I'm feeling and thinking. It's been a difficult day, man. We're gonna go to the park, me and my dog, our dog, and have a walk.
One of the things I wanted to share about the video I just shared is it was so important to me in my journey to compare other suicide loss survivors' journeys, specifically with partner loss, not to compare in a way where I felt like, oh, they're here and I'm here, so that's not okay. It wasn't in a way to have an expectation of what my grieving journey looked like, or to know like, okay, I'm okay because this person says this or this person's here. It was really literally to know and feel that I wasn't alone in so many different ways and levels. So that just the internal deep desire to see where someone else was at in a way was going to be kind of therapeutic for me, because I was going to be able to see where other individuals were and know like, okay, like this is common, or, oh, this is maybe something different. Like I had no baseline to understand what part of this grieving journey entails, and nothing to compare my journey to. And I know that there's a lot of blog posts and a lot of writing, but I wanted to see what someone else was going through and like be able to feel their emotions. I think also in a way, the comparing was really a way to connect to someone, and in the process of connecting to not feel alone, even if I personally wasn't interacting with them or talking with them or to them directly, that getting to hear their journey and how they were navigating it was going to feel like such a gift for me. and I couldn't find it. So I did want to touch on that when I share that I wanted to compare. It wasn't in a way to put any type of parameters on what my grieving looks like. And for you as well, like we're all so very different that however our journey unfolds, this is just a means to like really connect and share my story and let you know that you are not alone. And some of our grievances we share, and I'm sharing how I've navigated them. Another thing that I also wanted to touch on is at the end of the video, I say, oh, this has been a difficult day. Off to the park. You know, the park and having Jai, I really feel in a lot of ways saved me. And when I say saved me, I'm meaning that and coming from a place where I did not feel okay and I didn't know what my next steps were. And so when I got into the state of being in panic and wrestling with that is how I felt, even though when I did work through that, I got into a place of acceptance that it was a beautiful part of my grieving journey and that it was okay that I felt like that instead of trying to control it, which made the world of difference in my healing and taught me a lot of lessons as well that came into play down the road in my journey. But I wanted to talk about our physiology and that it's so connected, our movement of our body and connection to our emotions, the energy in motion, and what we're feeling on that level are intertwined. And we are Mother Earth. And so getting to go outside and be in Mother Earth, especially also because that was Jai's outings. I mean, we'd taken her to the park every day for years. So like I had to, at a minimum, show up for her and get her out to the park. And it also became super therapeutic for me as well. And also, it was one of the only things I did for quite a while. I had difficulty even leaving the house, even functioning for quite a bit. So I wanted to touch on that too. If you have the opportunity to get outside, even if you're in a big city, you know, lots of big cities have little park areas, and just be in Mother Earth and move your body. It could really be so super healing in a lot of different ways. All right. I'm going to also share my episode story with you. I'm gonna read it now. It's a little lengthy, but it's the first page of my book. It says, back in 2008, I was graced with the honor of meeting you, the love of my life. You had me at hello, especially with that accent and nose twitching of yours. I seriously did not know that that was a real thing, but he took my breath away. When I think about it as well, it doesn't hurt in a way that it might sound, but the last time I saw him, besides the service, he took my breath away as well. So it's something that I've thought about whenever I read this first page. It doesn't bring heaviness to me, but it is like, oh, it takes my breath away to think about it in that capacity. While obtaining my body language certificate, I did this tidbit part for my homework. I still shiver at the thought of your hugs, gorgeous. Super love you to the ends of the universe and back. Blessed to be graced with your presence. Lucky lady. Here's the little part I did for my homework. What's one example of romance body language gone right and one example of romance body language gone wrong that you've personally experienced or seen? And this is my gone right. I met my love at a coffee shop for our first interaction. There was fronting, leaning in, intimate gazing. I'm sure I was blushing a little too, accompanied by a big old smile. We walked outside and hugged before we parted. Super amazing hugger. He was watching me as I headed towards my car. After our first hug, when I began to walk away, I stopped for a moment and released an excitement throughout my whole entire body. Almost makes you stand a little taller, a ripple-like effect with a shiver. Then I turned back around and said, I want another one of those. I had no idea I did that until quite a bit later. We talked about it from time to time. My body language showed that I was jonesing for him. And then here is our first picture together. It's like cool that he noted and saw that and then shared that with me down the road, because I remember feeling that so deeply after I walked away from his hug. Like, oh my gosh, that felt so amazing. And then to know that he was watching me do that when I turned back around and asked for another hug. It's a really sweet memory that I have. And like I shared, doing this book has been one of the best gifts I've had in life. And it all started because I was so concerned that I was going to forget our memories. So, and from time to time, I do flip through the book and I have forgot memories. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Or, oh, wow. And I just feel like it's the gift that keeps on giving. When I was new to my grieving journey, I finished this within the first 6 months of him leaving, but I would reference it quite often to feel comfort. And then as time went by, it's 144 pages. There's a lot of pictures in there. But as time went by, I would start to have my own little tradition of every Thanksgiving. I would sit and read the whole book and just really enjoy myself. And then also some of our music and his favorites on his playlist. And it kind of morphed into its own thing and tradition. And I know for some, it could be difficult to look at photos or look at songs or be around clothing or smell scents or watch videos, any of all those things. And that's totally understandable too, especially if you're putting yourself in a place where you're like, well, I might get there, or if this, then that, in regards to how you want to honor your loved one's memory. This may be something you never want to do for yourself. And looking at pictures might always invoke some type of emotion that you don't quite want to sit in. So just really to give yourself grace as you're navigating your grieving journey, and know that it's different for all of us. But that is my story that I wanted to share today. And then for my quote, this quote actually came from Brian's Healing Hearts Center of Hope and Healing. And it is a quote that someone wrote about their experience in a suicide loss survivor group. And when I read it, it really just resonated with me at the time. So here it is. The storm was immense. You could feel it deep within your heart, your soul. It came with anger, guilt, tears, and indescribable pain. This wasn't the storm outside the window. It was a tsunami inside that no one forecasted. It arrives unexpectedly following the death of someone to suicide. It was the storm of emotions coming from the survivors that overwhelmed the room. It was hard to breathe. There was no escaping the storm. The rawness of the collective grief was palpable. The unanswered whys, then the how do we go on? But then, in the me too, I feel like that too. An understanding like no other. Sometimes the storm is overwhelming, sometimes gentle, and even sometimes at the end, the sun shines through. This is the storm of a survivor of suicide grief support group. It's unpredictable, but one thing is for sure. You are never alone in the storm. Sending so much love to all who weathered this storm together. Yeah, there's lots of little different things that popped up in there for me that resonate. There's a sense of, for me, a sense of comfort in the part where it was hard to breathe. I remember feeling like, and it was things that people gave me too, is just one breath at a time. And that truly embodied a part of my journey where it just take it a breath at a time. And then it got a minute at a time. And then slowly it got longer and longer. So like that really, and then the palpable part, there's no words for it. That was truly part of my experience in getting to go to a support group in person. And the online ones are really cool too. When I lost him in 2015, there wasn't too much available for online support groups. And as of 2020, more and more and more have popped up. Unfortunately, there's a need for them, but thankfully they're available and more than one to choose from and happening more regularly. And if you don't want to or are not near somewhere where you can actually travel to them, then they're easily accessible for the most part online, which is really something that's really special and really a gift. So if you are feeling alone, that might be a resource or avenue that you might want to maybe see how you feel about possibly attending one. But however, there is another part of this where it says, I guess it's the me too. I feel like that too. And understanding like no other. It's that part. When I was going through this, especially early on, and as I had mentioned, my big sister kind of put me in a position where she became such a bugaboo and was adamant to get me to say yes, I would go to a support group. I felt like I was speaking tongues, and metaphorically, that is how I kept referencing it in my head. I felt like people would say like, well, what do you need? Or how can I show up? Or what's going on? And I would just be like, not that that's speaking tongues, but like no one could understand what was happening inside me unless they had been through it. And so it was super comforting to be able to attend the group, be in that energy, and get to hear the echoes of people's stories that mirrored some of my own story and how I was feeling, and to truly know that I was not alone. It was really beneficial to my well-being and my mental health for me personally. All right, so that's my story and my quote. If anything about this episode or my story or quote really resonated with you or brought something up that you wanted to share, please connect with me by leaving me a comment down below. And wherever you are at in your journey, please be gentle with yourself. Let go of the expectations of what this journey looks like, and know that you are not alone. I'm sending you these amazing big JAM hugs, and I'm also sending you lots of love and light and healing on your journey.